Video games. Mental health. These are two ideas that are not often associated with each other. In fact, at times, on social media, video games get a really bad reputation. Gamers are seen as something that my man should never be, and are associated with hermits who keep to themselves and disassociate from the world. And well, yes, video games can be used to do this, as several other mediums can be used in several different ways. I think there's a bit more to video games than meets the eye. Hi, my name is Theology. I am a DJ and producer who makes club-ready video game remixes. I'm also very much a mental health activist, as demonstrated by my music and mental health podcast that I put out every month. In this new series of mine about video games and mental health, we'll explore several elements of video games in depth and how they can apply to our lives to improve our mental health. I have often argued to non-nerds who scoff at video games that they are the best intersection, at least as far as I can tell, between beauty and art, gripping storytelling, puzzle solving or overcoming obstacles, and gorgeous music. All these things are essential to give our mental health a huge boost. No other medium that I have come across has combined these elements as masterfully as video games have done. While I'm mostly going to be focusing on what the stories in video games have to say in future videos, I believe these four elements provide us with a holistic picture that is unmatched, and when taken as a whole, extremely good for one's mental health. Thus, I am going to be focusing on these four elements in this pilot episode. One of the greatest ways that we can possibly be at peace is to engage with beautiful forms of art. There's a reason we adorn our homes with it, have museums dedicated to it, and generally celebrate it in several forms throughout society. And yeah, beautiful in this sense is subjective, but that's what's powerful about art. There are some pieces of art that do nothing for me but are life-changing for others. Still, there are pieces of art that I adore that others see as meaningless. What I'm trying to say here is that if we dig deep enough, there's really something for everybody. Beautiful art has the power to elicit a wide range of emotions, including joy, awe, serenity, and more. Research suggests that experiencing positive emotions through art can enhance overall well-being and mood, and I have a source for that in my links below. Engaging with art that resonates with personal experiences or values can also foster a sense of emotional validation and self-reflection, promoting healing and growing. I know that when I first saw the art style of A Link to the Past, there was something soothing about it for me. That's the first time in my life that I remember the impact that an art style had. The first time I saw the Secret of Mana box art, I was captivated by that tree, and well, I still am. Obviously. Looking at it alone does something to my brain that I can't explain. I feel at peace, I feel like an adventure is about to begin, and I also feel a sense of awe considering the mana tree's size. It's generally captivating, and I know that I'm not alone in feeling this way. In Nederland, mijn favorietsland, is een kunstenaar, en hij is net een beetje bekend in de wereld. I'm talking about Vincent van Gogh, of course, the famous Dutch painter. He said, "I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart." Van Gogh's own mental health struggles are well documented, and his art became the way he expressed his emotions and found inner peace despite his struggles. This quote highlights the transformative and therapeutic potential of art. Whether we engage with it, create it, or both, art is an incredible way to improve upon our mental health. If there's one thing we can agree on, it's that there are some video games with absolutely gorgeous, cinematic, and unique art styles. The art style is the first thing that we see that piques our interest in a game, and that influences us to possibly begin playing it. Then, in most games, we are greeted with a story. When we see a good movie, read a well-written novel, or sit by a campfire as someone tells us a story, oftentimes we see ourselves in the details. We subconsciously try and relate as much as possible to the details of the tale. This is called narrative engagement, and psychological research has shown that this can have significant effects on our beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, and more. When we become immersed in a story, we temporarily suspend our own reality and adopt the perspectives and experiences of the characters. This process can elicit empathy, shape our perceptions, and even influence our own self-concept and sense of identity. Some of the most captivating stories, in my opinion, are held within the Final Fantasy series. If you didn't cry while playing Final Fantasy X, did you even play it? This is just one example of one niche of video games, though. I'm currently playing Persona 5 Royal right now, and that story has me completely wrecked emotionally, and I'm only 25 hours in. The whole changing the hearts of people who are doing evil things by stealing their hearts in alternate dimensions is such an unbelievable concept to me, and really helps me see all sides of a person before I'm too quick to judge them. I could go on and on for days about stories in video games, and I will further on in this series. What can be said with absolute certainty, though, is that one of the best ways we as humans escape our tough reality is through stories. We also often relate to stories we are told in our personal lives by inserting ourselves into the narrative. Brené Brown, a research professor and storyteller, said, "Owning our story can be hard, but not as nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. The importance of embracing and sharing our personal stories is uncanny. Storytelling can be a powerful tool for understanding ourselves, connecting with others, and promoting mental well-being. Through this process, we can confront our experiences, process emotions, and find healing and growth. At times, avoiding or suppressing our own stories can be more challenging than facing them." Kratos from God of War is a Spartan warrior who faces a troubled past and carries the weight of his actions. Throughout the game series as a whole, Kratos grapples with his own guilt, trauma, and suppressed emotions. He becomes consumed by revenge and seeks to overthrow the gods of Olympus, who have caused him a terrible suffering. Kratos, however, learns to confront his inner demons, reconcile with his past, and find redemption as the series progresses. His journey is not only one of physical prowess and epic battles, but also a deeply personal and emotional exploration of his own suppressed story. Players witness his transformation from a vengeful and tormented warrior to a character who seeks to break the cycle of violence and protect his family. In Kratos' speech to his son Atreus, he urges him to open his heart to the suffering of the Midgardians. "Son, listen closely. You feel their pain because that is who you are, and you must never sacrifice that. Never. Not for anyone. I was wrong, Atreus. I was wrong. Open your heart. Open your heart to their suffering. That is your mother's wish, and mine as well. Today, son, today, we will be better." The power of storytelling in video games showcases personal growth, redemption, and the importance of facing one's past. I know that we all have done things in life we are not proud of to varying degrees, and well, yes, this story is completely fictional, it can still inspire us to do better in life. No matter where we have come from, we can always turn things around and become better. Our stories are what shape us, and stories get us through the difficult times in life. They have a healing power that is unmatched. And, speaking of overcoming obstacles, life is a series of obstacles. When you were born, no matter what socioeconomic demographic you were born into, you will face challenges and obstacles that you must overcome to continue growing and progressing. The more we overcome challenges, the more we live in an achievement unlocked state. Don't you love moments like these while playing games? And doesn't it feel good to know that you achieved something? In short, solving puzzles provides us with the proof that we can overcome other, perhaps even greater obstacles in our lives. We just have to believe in ourselves, and we have to try. The cognitive stimulation, stress relief, mood enhancement, and relaxation and mindfulness that puzzle solving can create should not go unmentioned either. Typically, when solving puzzles, we are in a cognitive state where we are fully present in the moment. These challenges provide us with a sense of resilience, personal growth, self-efficacy, and positive thinking in our lives. Resilience because some challenges are harder than others. I remember when I was in high school, Guitar Hero 3 had just come out. I saw the song Through the Fire and Flames and was very intrigued by the challenge. I knew I had to beat it. Duh. I maybe worked on that song for a month straight before I finally beat it, with an upper 70% score. But that didn't matter. I set my mind to something, and I achieved it. It was an unspeakable feeling. Beating bosses or challenging enemies is another obstacle, albeit not puzzle solving. Although video games are an escape from reality, when we overcome such hardships, it only proves to us that we can do this in real life too. If we work at something hard enough and with enough persistence, what can stand in our way? In a study called Computer and Video Games in Mental Health, the people who wrote this paper note that because children and adolescents are exposed to a multitude of open-ended problems and games, they are more likely to problem solve through trial and error. A longitudinal study conducted by Adaki and Willoughby showed that The adolescents who reported playing strategic video games displayed higher problem-solving skills when followed up with the following year. The same predictive association was not found for fast-paced games such as racing and fighting games, however, but I'm sure those have their pros too. Life isn't just about the beautiful times, but it's about overcoming difficulties. This balance is something that video games like The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Final Fantasy, and Persona have taught me. We have to appreciate the times of struggle to appreciate the times of beauty and bliss. And speaking of pure bliss, when you hear certain music, where does it take you? I know for a fact that some music is so well made that it unlocks some of the deepest memories I have. Out of nowhere, I am bombarded by a sea of nostalgia, and I'm in that moment. Considering how distinct video game music sounds with its pulsating chords, iconic melodies, and incredibly unique sound design, it has the potential to bring us back to parts of our childhood where we had no responsibility. I know it certainly does for me. If we experience rough conditions at home, video games may have been one of the only escapes we had, and the music from these pieces of art is one thing that can instantly connect us to that feeling of no responsibility. In Final Fantasy X, regarding the iconic song Hymn of the Faith, there is a quote that states, "Today, the hymn is sung all over Spira." You could say that, though Xanarkand is gone from this world, it lives on in the song. Without going too deeply into the Final Fantasy X storyline, that'll probably be another video in the future, the point is that this music has this special power to preserve our memories. The only other thing I can think of that triggers memories and maintains legacies such as this would probably be smelling certain smells, but as we can't smell video games just yet, let's focus on the musical aspects. The most viewed video on YouTube of David Wise's classic, Stickerbush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2. In the comments section is a safe haven for people to share their woes, their triumphs, and their struggles. It is one of the most raw and real places on the internet that I've discovered, and for good reason. The song connects these people to something really special. For me personally, when I hear Stickerbush Symphony, it gives me feelings that I cannot explain. Feelings of hope mixed with despair, melancholy, and yet at the same time, peace. This makes for a really complicated piece. However, I believe that the balance this tune achieves is remarkable, and it's what I ardently search for in any musical composition. I think that if I had to put one word on it, pieces like this are healing. I believe video game music, harnessed properly, has the power to heal. Even scholarly research says that listening to beautiful music can lead to a reduction in stress hormones such as cortisol. And once again, I have a source for that. If this becomes a daily practice, it differentially affects the HPA axis and ANS functioning, thus emphasizing the need for a multidimensional assessment of stress in daily life. After all, music therapy is an entire field that is used to heal. Why not utilize some of the most nostalgic music there is as the gateway to becoming whole again? I mean, music is more or less my life, specifically video game music, obviously. So if I didn't touch on that in this video, I'd be doing you all a disservice. Now, the studies that I cited earlier in the puzzle solving section do go into some negative aspects of playing video games, so I want to touch on this quickly just to be unbiased. It notes that in some cases, video game usage can lead to health issues due to inactivity of the body, psychological issues such as diminished sleep and low concentration, poor academic achievement, and even aggression, which is usually linked to violent video games. But all these setbacks are linked with overuse of video games, which can be said for anything else in life that is overused. I mean, heck, a lot of us are staring at a screen during work these days, doing monotonous corporate horseshit for what is definitely way too long in the day, but no one bats an eye at that. Just video game usage. At least, as I've mentioned, video games have the power to heal, if used properly, and I'm pretty sure inputting numbers all day into an Excel spreadsheet doesn't share that sentiment. For another example, a glass of red wine a day is good for your heart, so they say, but drinking 5 bottles a night will lead to liver damage. Any medium, if misused, can have negative consequences. It's all about being aware of what your body and mind are saying to you, responding to it positively, and moving forward in a constructive manner. As I said in the beginning of this video, I'm a DJ and a producer that makes club-ready video game remixes. I'll be honest, one of my aims with what I'm doing with video game remixes is that I want it to serve as a nostalgic bridge to help us open our minds and our hearts to becoming one with those moments and feelings again. I want it to allow us to be in a space where we can become vulnerable, experience that vulnerability with others, and heal from it. Again, I believe that video game music has the power to heal wounds. And what a better way to make this happen than with true human connections? I mean, after all, humans are a social species. I don't care how introverted you may say you are. I also need time to recharge, believe me, but we all have a desire for human connection from time to time. It's what moves us forward, helps us grow, and helps us to heal. Not to mention, if you play games like Final Fantasy XIV, WoW, or any other MMO or game that connects us as a species, you are already way ahead of me. Now look, I know I don't have any formal psychological training. I'm very upfront about this, but this could be a good thing. It means I'm just like you in a lot of ways. I'm not some out-of-touch billionaire giving you business advice that is unattainable for the average person, right? I'm here to relate to you as much as I can, and I want this to be a two-way street. We can do so much more united than divided. I'm also on this journey with you to improve my mental health, and since I'm just like you, I'm hoping that as this journey develops and unfolds, the techniques that work for me work for you too. Of course, I will be interviewing as many therapists as I can along the way, mostly for my music and mental health podcast, but to get a balanced and broad perspective, we need to talk about these things simply amongst ourselves too. I realize that analyzing video games as a vehicle to improve mental health is an incredibly niche place to be. But the lessons that they teach us in their sometimes incredibly deep stories, the puzzles we solve within them that prove that we can overcome obstacles, the beauty in their art styles, and the majesty of their soundtracks provide a very holistic approach to improving our mental health. Whether you are running to save the princess in Super Mario 64, trying to defeat Lavos in Chrono Trigger, or you are changing the hearts of criminals in Persona 5, video games have the potential to help us rather than harm us, and I will die on this hill. So, I implore you, please come along on this journey with me. I will be releasing an episode once a month for you guys to enjoy, and hopefully we can apply the information from it to our lives together to collectively improve our mental states and unlock God mode. Do you have any other thoughts for future video ideas about video games and mental health? Leave a comment below. Did you like the video? Please subscribe and like so that the YouTube algorithm that hates me so might begin to like me. I really desire to get this message out there so that this little community can help as many people as possible. Sincerely, I am very much in this for the right reasons. So, I'll see you in the next video where I'll be talking about Terra's journey in Final Fantasy VI. Love to all, and please take care of each other.